Good afternoon. I'm here with Megan Ackerman. Megan, thank you for taking time to talk to me today.
Yes, I'm pleasure to be here.
So in these calls, I like to ask you questions about your practice, about who you like to see, what's going on. Do you mind if we jump in?
I'm ready.
Great. Well, let's start with your credentials. What are the little letters after your name?
So I am a licensed master's social worker.
Great. And um, how did you find your way to Alliance?
Well, to me, it probably feels like a long journey, but I had experience in the past working with kids in the child welfare system and just found that once I kind of graduated from that realm of work, that I still really enjoy working with kids. And it has always kind of been a goal to become a therapist. My mom and sister are therapists, so it's kind of become a family business where we're all following that path. And really just that passion and desire to continue wanting to work with kids.
Love it. And when you say kids, what do you mean? What are the ages that you like there?
So I would say the ages that I prefer working with would be those tweens to teens, anywhere from about 10 to 17.
Nice, nice. And um, having this history of working child welfare and then now in private practice, who is an ideal client? Who's that person that gets you really excited and that you connect well with?
I would say at my time with Alliance, the youth that I've really enjoyed working with and really found that or become passionate about is the clients that might be struggling with being overwhelmed by worries, that they just can't seem to shut those worries off. It might look like school anxiety, social anxiety, maybe even some perfectionistic qualities or the fear of making mistakes, maybe big emotion reactions or avoidant behaviors or that constant what if feeling.
So if you were talking to a parent, how what what would you say to a parent like, oh, this is the time when your child is doing something like this, that's when you should give me a call.
I would say if it can kind of anxiety can manifest and present in many ways. Oftentimes, I think parents have the misconception that it might present in just a panic attack, but the reality of it is anxiety doesn't always show up in panic attacks. It can be show up as irritability, shutting down, anger, stomach aches, headaches, trouble sleeping, avoidant behaviors, or even just the child saying, I'm fine, when clearly they're not. So I would tell the parents, if you're noticing a pattern with those types of behaviors, that would be a good time to look at exploring some therapeutic intervention.
Okay, great. um I don't on my caseload I don't see many kids, so I don't really have to wrestle with this question. But how are parents involved in a tween or teenager? um what's the parents role through the treatment process? How do you
So
like to work with them?
So obviously, I want to make sure that that therapeutic environment isn't just them attending sessions to gain those skills, but it's what they're going to carry outside the home. Because the reality of it is, anxiety affects the entire family. And the initial part of treatment would be really bringing the parents in and helping them gain an understanding of their child's anxiety and how that's manifested and how they're affected by it. And then working with the parents as well, whether it's scheduling separate parent sessions, I've done that, or taking the last few minutes of a sessions each session to review things with parents and letting them know what skill we're working on in the session so they can practice that and implement that in the home as well as giving parents the coping mechanisms to kind of reduce that power struggle at home that sometimes can manifest if a child's acting out because of the anxiety. And then there's that parent power struggle and how they should, work with that.
Well, that kind of sounds like if you're seeing a 10-year-old, you might have three clients:
Yes.
the right, the 10-year-old and the mom and the dad.
Yes. It
Okay.
does feel like that, but but that's the whole goal. We want it to be a team effort and a team approach because I want them, not only the child to leave that, to have the confidence to be able to tackle that anxiety when it approaches, but also for the parents to have those goals after therapy ends to continue to work with their child.
Do you do you ever have those conversations with parents that child dealing with some big worries, and then the parents feeling like that they somehow failed or missed the mark?
Absolutely. And there's a lot of self-blame when in reality, there could be multiple components. And sometimes it could be even that genetic component. If maybe mom might have anxiety and not realizing that her child might as well, but his is manifesting in where he's using anger or the avoidance, where anxiety presents differently for every individual, but yet both individuals have anxiety. And so it's just working with them that it is not because of you. It is not your fault that your child has anxiety. Let's work on this together to help them so they can tackle those anxious thoughts.
Sure. What do you think you have that helps you to connect to a teenager, especially when loving parents are feeling the power struggle and the disconnect in relationship? What do you have that can kind of break through some of those barriers and maybe help those discussions to happen with the child?
I think that, and I think it's one of the skills that I learned in my child welfare days is just that ability to really engage with teenagers and get them to develop that trusting, safe relationship where they feel safe and supported. And some of that might be where, therapy with kids is different than adults. We might have to spend a couple sessions building that rapport, whether it's playing games. And sometimes I've had teenagers, well, and also with teens, they might be looking for a reaction. So they want to, they're testing me and wanting to see if I'm going to react if they say nothing in the session or might be snippy at first. But it's just continuing to maintain that calm, supportive environment. And it's amazing how quickly they will open up and become engaged. And, I have kids that when they first come in, they're very resistant, don't want to be there, want to stay with mom. And then a couple sessions later, they're like, okay, mom, please, there's the door. This is my time now. Or can you stop talking to Megan? It's my time.
I love that it grows into that idea that I have this space, I have this person, and it's really valuable to me. And so, mom, you're great, but
And that's really what kids are looking for in that therapeutic setting. They want to feel safe and understood and empowered.
love it, love it. Well, a lot of times in the conversation, I'm talking to different therapists. I'll where technology, uh, virtual versus in person. Um, do you do virtual sessions? And what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I do virtual sessions. Typically, I like to tailor them for 12 and older, just because it can be more difficult for the younger ones to engage. But I also have done virtual sessions with some younger youth. And really, my treatment focus is the same. What I would do in the in person than the virtual is just now we're using a screen. Like an example for one of my 10-year-old kiddos who's virtual, we do a feeling scavenger hunt and I provide him a list and I'll even time him. He's got to go find me something that makes you feel safe, that makes you feel calm. And then he brings it back and shows it to me, but he has to tell me about a time that he felt that way and how that brought him relief and so on. So I still use the same techniques because a lot of my techniques are cognitive behavioral therapy, but you can still use them in the virtual setting. And CBT with kids is different than adults. They need the metaphors and the visualization and how to put it into real life by using role plays and scenarios.
Wow, I maybe underestimated the complexity and the creativity needed to to see a younger person on a screen. That's great.
It definitely, I think for both virtual and in person, there is an element when you are working with kids to almost do lesson planning, because you have to tailor each session to the individual child, and you have to find which ways you're going to be able to engage them.
I also noticed a while back, a lot of times we maybe make the assumption female therapist, female child coming in, but then you said he. So do you have any preference? Um,
As far as gender, I don't. I think it really just depends on the clinician's ability to engage with that child and just finding that small connection in that initial session. It's amazing what that can do. And I have not had an incident in, you know, my 20 plus years working with youth where they haven't wanted to meet with me because if I was the opposite gender. That's never been a concern. It's just how you can relate, how you can understand and empower them.
and always aiming at that bond
Yeah.
and feeling that connection.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, I am glad that you are at Alliance and that you have a caseload where you're making space for um, these teenagers. Is that what we want to call them?
I like teenagers. I say
Okay.
tweens and teens, but teenagers is great because then it embodies all of them.
Well, I'm so glad that you're at Alliance and willing to see that. And um, you spent a lot of time at the mainly at the Holland office, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And then wherever your virtual reach will take you.
Yes. Yeah.
Great.
And I've loved my time at Alliance because it goes beyond the therapy room. It's the team and the support that I have too has been amazing.
Love
And
it.
I think our clients even pick up on that.
That's great. Well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to talk about your practice, and I'm sure we'll see you at the office.
Sounds good. See you then.
Thanks, Megan. Bye.
Yeah.